as a tool to empower and mobilize clients. Whether working with Sydney as your leadership, entrepreneurial, and empowerment coach, trainer, or speaker, she is committed to creating a transformative experience. Sydney enjoys training and holding space for discussions on topics around thought leadership, facilitating tough conversations, building an inclusive and sustainable culture. I don't get to say Jedi anymore.
Okay. Just a DEI.
DEIJA. And building capacity for empathy. She also has various certifications to support her work, including trauma-informed care, mental health first aid, harassment prevention, and crisis prevention and intervention. Sydney is a 2022 Good Business Colorado Award winner and just published My Own Worst Enemy, Understanding and Overcoming Imposter Syndrome. Sydney is also a member of Consultants for Good Business Colorado, Women in Sustainability, Posner Center for International Development, and Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce. Today, Sydney is reading an excerpt from her latest book, My Own Worst Enemy, Understanding and Overcoming Imposter Syndrome. Sydney, welcome to the stage.
First thing I said when I came in, I was like, oh, what corner are you putting me in? And they're like, no, you're on the stage. I was like, okay. So I'm gonna get comfortable and sit. One thing I will say is I get really nervous reading excerpts even from my own book out loud because I have a learning disability, I'm dyslexic. And so I just like to tell folks that even if you have something like a learning disability or you have barriers in your way, there are ways to achieve your dreams and your goals. It's just about finding the right team to support you to do that. So yeah, just wanted to say that. So if you hear me stutter or get nervous, that is why. The excerpt I'm going to read is from chapter 6, and it's on fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Every single day, we can choose to grow in our personal and professional development, or we can choose to stay the same. If we stay the same, we disregard the life lessons that come with learning about ourselves, and we create a negative impact moving forward. If we choose growth, we learn many amazing things about ourselves and our relationships to life. This chapter is about helping you to go from feeling stagnant and never moving forward to creating a deeper relationship with yourself and with your mess. Old stories are negative BS, belief systems, not bull-ish belief systems. So what is fixed mindset? I want to paint you a clear visualization of what happens when you stay in a fixed mindset. It is important to continue growing, even if you cannot physically witness the growth yet. Imagine a beautiful seed that is being planted on the earth. You dig up the soil so that it's deep enough to place the seed in a hole. You cover it up, and then you wait. Every single time you nurture and water the seed, the plant is growing. You just can't see what's happening underneath the surface. You can only trust that growth is occurring. By faith, you believe it is. You don't leave it to grow by itself. You continue to water it, take care of the seed. Without love, care, and proper nutrients, the growth of the seed is non-existent. Before you know it, a leaf starts to sprout from beneath the ground. Something is happening. Growth is happening. Evolution is occurring. As you continue to care for the plant, it grows bigger, brighter, and more beautiful until it blooms into a magnificent flower and or delicious vegetable, whatever you want to say the seed is in this case. I want you to think about something. What do you feel would happen if you stopped caring for the flower when it blooms? What would happen if you stopped nurturing it and giving it water? More likely, it would dry up and die, and you'll need to start over with another seed and go through the same process. So many of us are prone to staying in a fixed mindset. We achieve our goals and then we stay there. We no longer have any interest in nurturing our goals that years down the road, we are in the exact same place as we started years before. We've lost our passion and commitment and we've become comfortable. When you stay in a fixed mindset, many negative emotions can show up. Worry because you're not sure where to go next. Stress because everything feels like a routine. Boredom because everything feels the same with no excitement. And fear because you have no idea what's going to happen in a year from now. In a fixed mindset, there is no projection. And when there is no projection, innovation doesn't exist. When you don't find ways to grow, you stay stuck. When you feel stuck, you overthink. When you overthink, you lose your passion and sight of your purpose. It becomes a downward spiral of conflicting emotions because you're not sure of what to do or who to be anymore. It's like you've lost yourself. So what is growth mindset? Now that you have an idea of what happens when you stay in a fixed mindset, I'd like to explain what happens when you choose to continually grow. I'd like to use another powerful visualization in order to help explain growth mindset. I believe that butterflies are one of the most beautiful insects. My home state of Colorado is right in the migration path of monarch butterflies. Almost every, pause to turn page. Thanks, a few laughs at my dad jokes. Almost every fall, it's possible to witness swarms of monarchs in the gardens, parks, and open fields. Each monarch has its own unique quality that makes them as beautiful as they are. At times, we tend to forget that the journey a butterfly has to go through in order to be viewed as extraordinary. The transformation is called metamorphosis. It includes 4 stages of growth: the egg, caterpillar, transition, and rebirth. Each and every stage has its own mess that turns into a beautiful transformation. The female butterfly lays her eggs, which hatch into caterpillars. The caterpillar's job is to continually eat as much as it can, and as it grows, it sheds layers multiple times. It's as if it's letting go of its old self so it can be replaced with a new version. Once the caterpillar grows into the appropriate size, it doesn't stop its growth completely. It moves into the next stage, the transition, the innovation. It transforms into a chrysalis and goes through a rebirth journey. The caterpillar is known to die in the chrysalis and begin to take shape as a butterfly. It can take a few weeks or a month, only time will tell. But once it's ready, it emerges from the chrysalis as a beautiful flying insect. A butterfly's journey is an extraordinary representation of growth. We may not know what's happening inside the chrysalis, but a transformation is taking place. As a caterpillar, it goes through various struggles, fighting off bigger insects, struggling with trying to survive through weather changes, and finding enough food to eat so it can continue to grow and survive, but it never quits. The caterpillar doesn't stay exactly as it is. It does whatever it can to survive so it can innovate and move into the next stage of becoming a butterfly, despite the mess it takes for it to get there. We can continually learn about our own personal development by reminding ourselves of a butterfly's journey. Developing a growth mindset is about moving forward, no matter the struggles we go through. Many of us stay in a fixed mindset because we go through a situation that is difficult to overcome and we feel we can't move past it. These are the icky limiting beliefs we spoke about in chapter 5. Have to get the book to read chapter 5. By choosing to remember that these situations are helping us become stronger and more resilient to challenges, we can continue to innovate and go through our own rebirth and come out on the other side as a strong-willed and determined butterfly. End of excerpt. I think I have a few moments for questions, anything I'm open to sharing about my process about writing, about self-publishing, or about imposter syndrome, if there's any questions out there. Yes?
What did writing this book bring up for you personally that you're willing to share with us in the audience?
Yeah, so the question was, what did writing this book bring up for me that I'm willing to share? Writing this book brought up a lot of feelings that I had repressed and pushed down and kind of stuffed into a box to just keep moving, right? And to keep going. And when I became an entrepreneur, something that I really knew needed to happen in order for my business to grow was for me to actually deal with a lot of the traumas that I've had in the past and a lot of the negative emotions that I've experienced in the past in order for me to not only better serve my clients, but to better serve myself. I tell a lot of people, I don't know what you believe in spiritually. You know, some people don't believe in anything. Some people believe there's past lives. Some people believe there's a second place after we leave. What I can tell you is that we're here and now, and we're alive. Like, we're all sitting in this room right now. And so I just didn't want to spend my life feeling like I wasn't enough anymore, and that I couldn't achieve something because someone else had told me that, and I started to believe it and internalize it and become my own prisoner. And so that's where the title of My Own Worst Enemy came up from, is because I feel like a lot of folks, including myself, will hold on to things and really believe it and let that stunt their gifts and their talents that they could be sharing with the world. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
I'm curious of how you decided to write a book, and then what, like, was the topic first, and then what was the process of, like, great, you want to do this, and then what? Feels
Yeah.
very daunting.
Yeah. Yes. So So the question was, why a book? And then how did you get started? That's what I'm hearing, and just some of that process. So I loved reading as a kid. When I was in 3rd grade, I got told that I was very gifted but lazy by teachers because I had undiagnosed dyslexia, and my dyslexia doesn't show up how people think dyslexia usually shows up. For some people, it's very clear through reading, right? But for me, I excelled at reading. I passed every test, I was always advanced, but for me it was spelling and writing that it showed up. And so I always loved reading, and I always had a dream of like writing a book or publishing something. I used to be on like my school's newspaper and yearbook and things like that. But just when I got older, I internalized a lot of that stuff. You know, I had coworkers. I worked in a space where we had to submit forms by written hand, and I caught like the bursar and some of my coworkers laughing about me in her office. So I was like in the bathroom in tears crying, and you know, I've had people who were professionals who were like, "Ooh, you're dyslexic. It's a good thing you don't tell people about that, so they don't think you're stupid." Like, I've had people say things like that to me, to my face. And so I just really wrote it as a way to prove to myself that it was something I could do, but also kind of as like a middle finger to the other people, like, well, it looks like I can still say I'm dyslexic and I'm a professional and I can write a book and do these things too. And then,
yeah.
Thank you. And then the process of writing, I will say, like I've told people, having a team is really important. That was a theme that came up earlier, and I think Amanda and your talked about money, right? Having a strong financial team is really important. So anytime you do something, I feel like when you're able to get to that point to have a team behind you, it's great. So I actually had a team of like editors and someone who was a ghostwriter who wrote with me to help me. So a lot of people were like, "Whoa, you finished that book quick." And I was like, if I would have wrote it by myself, I would have struggled for 12 years, right? Trying to like commit it to paper and then trying to edit it myself. And so I was able to do it so quickly in like 3 to 6 months because I had a strong team behind me for all of the steps of the process, everything from editing to formatting to actually getting it published and printed. So yeah. All right, I think I have time for one more question. I'm not sure what the time is, but
You have 10 seconds.
I have 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Oh, any last
Where
questions?
do we buy your book?
You can buy my book from me today. I have copies and I'll sign them, or online. Look, yes, thank you, Tamara. Or online through my website, citrinunlimited.com. I also will ship out a signed copy. And I think there's one more question in the corner at the craft table. Yes.
When you're having a bad day,
Yeah.
just a mantra, what reminds you of your
I love
house?
this. Yeah, I love this question. So I actually took some time to get into affirmations, which at first I was like, this stuff is corny. But that's because what I realized is I wasn't picking affirmations that actually resonated with me. I was like, listening to what other people were saying and trying to repeat it to myself, and I was like, this is dumb. Like, what? So I think it's important to find an affirmation that really is important to you. And the one that's really important to me personally, as a woman, as a Black woman, is I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. So I think about the fact that I could be here on this stage and how many people had to come before me and to fight and to struggle. So I could be right here, right now. It just blows my mind. And so that's something I think. All right, thanks everyone.